and welcome back to another edition of the Bachelorette Becca season, episode 5, season 14. I'm your host. My name is Brent Baum, and I'm not only your favorite Couturian, I'm the only Couturian. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Welcome back. Welcome back. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. So I want to dive right into David and Jordan. David and Jordan, the 2-on-1. Even before the 2-on-1, everybody knew that leading up that it was going to be David and Jordan 2-on-1. They're in Vegas, they're in Circus, they're in Sin City. You can see that they're a beautiful, beautiful spot they're staying at. They got a pool table. It is fully loaded. I was looking for a bowling alley, to be honest with you. And as Becca said, they're going to gamble on love. I mean, it's a little cheap pun, but yeah, they're going to be gambling on love. So David and Jordan, you would think that they would talk about Becca. However, they're more concerned about fighting with each other than fighting for love with Becca. And David, I never understood the David dynamic. The chicken guy. He's so concerned about Jordan. Even before they went on the 2-on-1, he's asking Jordan about, what kind of underpants you're going to be wearing. Is there something I need to know about? Like, no, man. It's not anything you need to know about. David, just worry about yourself. And that's a big reason why I've been on Team Jordan throughout. Because even though Jordan obviously is there for himself, he's trying to push his modeling career. That's obvious. But at the same time, he doesn't focus on the other guys. And he has the charisma. He brings personality element to the show. So David, I think that secretly he's just jealous of Jordan. And he's just trying to find every single way to get Becca on his side by talking badly about Jordan. So they go on the 2-on-1 date. And right off the bat, when Becca and Jordan and David are all together, they're in that red Jeep. They get off the red Jeep. They're all together. And they're just sitting there. The awkward silence. There's no dialogue whatsoever. Becca's just like in the middle, just waiting for one of the guys to initiate a conversation, spark up some conversation. And none of them can do that. So then David gets that one-on-one time. And the entire time that they were one-on-one, all David talked about was Jordan. That's it. You thought he would spend some time talking about Becca, trying to show Becca why they are compatible. And just the idea of of David just tattling on Jordan about, Jordan said that if he gets with Becca, that would be settling, and mentioning the other guys. I mean, how girls were gawking at him at the casinos, and that he's just the greatest thing since the egg white omelet. Just all these things he has to bring up. And to me, David, you just got to focus on Becca. And the whole tattling, that's 6th grade. It really is 6th grade. And Becca even alluded to that. Them going back and forth, all this bickering, it's like 6th grade. It really is. When this is supposed to be the Bachelorette, okay? The Bachelorette, where you're supposed to find love. So then Jordan, he gets a one-on-one time with Becca, same old, and it just drove me crazy how that got brought up, that, the settling part, and how Jordan couldn't even really spend time to talk about things with Becca. So after that, obviously, Jordan confronts David about it, and then David just keeps on saying, I'm going to win, I'm confident, I'm sure I'm going to win this, but David just doesn't sound very confident. He really doesn't. He just lacks charisma, as Jordan alluded to. He has no charisma, he's got that nasally voice. He just lacks all these different qualities that Becca is looking for. Okay, she's looking for a husband at the end of this. And the fact that David couldn't even recall the exact conversation of where Jordan said that going for Becca is like settling. I never heard that. I never heard David have the ability to recollect exactly when it occurred. And Becca's been through that with Ari. Ari theoretically felt that going for Becca was the safe choice. And so Becca does not need to deal with that nonsense once again. So, man, it's just the back and forth conversation with David. and Jordan. That's a big reason why. And then you saw Becca sent David home. Thank the Lord that she sent David home, because David wasn't there for Becca. He kept on talking about Jordan wasn't there for Becca. No, David was not there for Becca. And yes, David is a kook, and some people may like themselves a kook, but I'm not so cuckoo for David, and I just think that it was time for him to go. And Becca obviously was not ready to give out the rose, so she basically took Jordan out on a little one-on-one date, and once again, Jordan was very good for his quotes on the date. He started talking about his modeling career. He said, yes, for me, it's gym, skincare, and hair. Like, what is this? He's always down with the acronyms. What is this? GTL, Gym, Tan, and Laundry? What is this? Jersey Shore? Fist pump like this, Louis! Is it fist pumping? Like, what is this? And I think it is entertaining. Like, even when they first went on the first date, I would say when they got off the Jeep and Becca was in the Daisy Dukes, he even said, look at Becca and the Daisy Dukes and boots. See, he is good for the quotes. You need that guy for the quotes. But as you can see, even when Jordan tried to get down to a level with Becca, a real intimate level, and even like ask Becca about, oh, well, what do you like to do on the weekends? What's the weekend look like for you? And then Becca said, it depends. And then Jordan said, oh, me too. Jordan didn't even give her an opportunity to tell him what she likes to do on the weekends. He just jumped the gun, always making it about him. And then Jordan decides while they're on the date to talk about more of his modeling career, the different looks and the pensive walk and all these different things as Tyra Banks smiling with your eyes.
Smizing.
And not once did he talk about Becca. He didn't get a chance to ask any questions, any inquiries about Becca. And that's where he went wrong. And then the fact that he even asked Becca, hey, is there a way we can get my portfolio out? Like, come on, bro. The fact that he said about the portfolio just tells you right there and then, yes, he's there for his modeling career. It's no secret. And then when he tried to surreptitiously get a smooch from Becca, it just didn't really work well. And you notice every single time that Jordan attempted to kiss Becca, she always pushed him aside. So obviously Becca said that I just can't give you this rose. We're not compatible. I never met anybody like you. I think you're very funny. You got charisma. But we're just not compatible. They're never compatible. They just kept him around because he was great for sound bites. And he was. So I'll give him that. Sad to see Jordan go. I was a Jordan fan. I thought Jordan was hilarious. We'll probably see him on Paradise. And I'm looking forward to seeing him on This Is Paradise. That's where I'm hoping he will be on. That's my guess. So I want to transition next to Chris. Chris and Becca. And the thing about it is, I just could not stand Chris from the inception of this show. How he told on the one guy, I forgot his name, but he brought up to Becca, oh, this guy's not here for the right reasons. I happen to know his ex-girlfriend. She said all these different negative things about him. So from the get-go, I did not like Chris. And you can see that Chris, with the Wayne Newton date, they had that date where they had come up with lyrics. Wayne Newton was the celebrity guest, and Chris did a great job. He got a great crowd reaction. He got a little shot at Ari, a little cheap pop. He had a little hook with the whole senorita. Like, I'll give him that. It was creative. It was good. He had the crowd, but he just got too cocky, and it got to the point where he thought, okay, I won the group date, so Becca's just gonna come to me. And I don't have to do anything. I am the Bachelor. I think for a second there, Chris thought he was the Bachelor. And clearly, Chris is not the Bachelor. Chris still has a lot of work to do. And he needs to realize that he is a contestant. He is a contestant on Becca's Bachelorette. So he just got, I guess he started to rest with his laurels. And it got to the point where he just didn't give any effort. And that's why you looked at the group date. After the group date, they had a little dinner, group hangout, cocktail party, whatever it was. They had that little hangout, and you saw Blake took advantage of his time. Blake pulled Becca aside, told her, I'm sorry that you didn't that the first person to tell you I'm falling in love with you did not really mean it, and John Blanc, and he told her I'm falling in love with you. He caressed her, he got all chummy, and it worked out well for him. He handled his business very well. Even though I'm not the biggest Blake fan, I think Blake's a little too lovey-dovey with Becca. I don't think he really challenges her. And even though we all know the guys are here for the most part for one reason, to win Becca over, but at the same time, I think there needs to be a little bit of an inner conflict, a little bit of a challenge. And I just don't see that out of Blake. I think there's a Blake, everything he does, it's very lovey-dovey, and it's as if he's never going to challenge Becca or anything. I think relationships need that. Relationships are work. Sometimes you need to challenge people in order to get the best out of them. So Blake obviously took advantage of the time. And then Chris, he missed his opportunity on the first time. Didn't get the rose. Blake ended up getting the group date rose. And then when they had, I think this is when they actually had the cocktail party. You know, before the cocktail party, Chris was complaining about, well, I did this and I did that, and I was the best person. Oh, that she was saving me for last because I had the best to save for last. And it just doesn't work that way, pal. It just does not. And to me, Chris, he's the type of person who just throws a lot of empty threats. A lot of empty threats. He's like the boy who cried wolf. The moment he doesn't get his way, he throws a little tantrum. He cries and cries and cries until someone comes over to give him what he needs. And he continued to do that. Every single time that Becca did not give him what he wanted, he always made threats. Oh, I'm leaving. I'm packing my bags. I'm gone. You even saw that. And this is the part I loved. When the Wills, obviously Wills had just sat down with Becca, and then Chris interrupts. He interrupts. And Wills had to basically stand his ground the second time around and tell Chris, your 2 minutes is up. It is time for me to talk with her. You need to go. And Chris kept on saying, give me more time, give me more time. But see, Chris, you got time. You got time when Becca came over to you and you said, well, you owe me like 50,000 kisses. Bruh, she doesn't owe you anything. She doesn't owe you 50,000 kisses. She doesn't owe you a kiss at all. If I was Becca, I probably would have kicked him off the show by that point. But Becca obviously sees something with Chris, and Becca was caught off guard that Chris didn't come around and try and spend time with her. You think that he would have done that. Because of the social structure we live in, a lot of times the woman is waiting for the guy to initiate things or make the first moves. So you would think that Chris would have been able to put that together, but he did not put that together. And so that's a big reason why I guess Becca was upset. And she just told him, I thought that you were into me, and it can get that vibe off that Chris really is not as into Becca as he's alluding to. He was saying, I'm here for you. But if you're really here for her, then stop threatening her and telling her, oh, I'm going to leave. I'm done. I can't deal with this anymore. And it's just the insecurities. And I get it. It probably stems from his childhood abandonment issues. His father abandoned him and his mom and his sisters. So that's probably where a big part of that stems from. However, he needs to realize that just because you had that in your childhood does not mean that Becca's going to do the same exact thing. You saw that Wills and Becca, they had a little conversation. They had a kiss here and there. And sure, I'm rooting for Wills. I don't really see much dialogue going on between Wills and Becca outside the fact that they're both nerds. They keep on saying that they're nerds, and that's the thing that they have in common. But I don't really see a whole lot of them reaching it to the final rose. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. I mean, when I look at the roster of guys right now, I really believe right now it's probably going to be the top three guys, Colton, Blake, and Garrett. Those are the safe options. Even though I do think that Chris is like a dark horse. I don't know. Chris, I think he did bury himself when he felt like he won Becca already, or just felt that Becca should come to him. So I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a tight race. But once again, he spent more time with Becca for the second time, explained himself, explained how he made a mistake, and even when Becca asked him, Becca said that, well, I heard from other guys that you said that you were leaving and that you were done. And then he tried to spin his words around like he never said that. And then he finally said, okay, I said that. Like, just own up to it, bro. Just own up to it. He owned up to it eventually, but he needs to own up to it the first time. And as Becca said, she's looking for that 50-50. She wants a guy that's going to compliment her. A guy that is going to not necessarily complete her, but a guy that is going to put as much in a relationship as she's going to put in a relationship. And also, Chris is just too arrogant, talking about how he is the front runner, he had the best performance, you saved me for last, I'm the front runner, I got this one, and you do not, man. You do not have it won. It just really annoyed me how he sounded her his breath after Wills basically not interrupt, but came back to talk with Becca, told Chris his time was done. Chris decided to, after Becca said, I will come get you, Chris, under his breath, used explicitives, saying that he's leaving. I just did not bode well for me. I just didn't like that. And I just think it's time for Chris to go home. Done with Chris. But I want to get aside from Chris. I want to talk about Colton and Becca's one-on-one date. They went out on a date, camel riding. Colton didn't look too thrilled about that. It looked as if he was scared. You see, he was trying to hold hands with Becca. Then Becca's camel she was riding kept on drifting away from Colton. But things got really steamy and hot in the hot tub. What else can you expect? They got very chummy. You could see that there's definitely a level of lust. But I don't know there's a level of love between Becca and Colton. I think that Becca's just more so attracted to Colton than actually falling in love with Colton. I think she likes the idea of being with him, but not necessarily being with him in the long run. And obviously, girls like him. I'm not going to lie about that. He's a good-looking guy, former NFL player. He's got that Cali look, surfer look, blonde hair, blue eyes. He's definitely going to attract a lot of girls. So he's definitely have a lot of girls gawking and flocking at him. So I get that. But I just don't think that Becca and him have potential long-term. And I'm not even sure how genuine Colton really is. Even when they were talking, like during their dinner date, and Colton was talking about his relationships and how he only fell in love one time with this girl after college, talked about the fact that he told her I love you early on, but to his chagrin, she did not say it back. And then Becca asked Colton, really picked up on this, Becca asked Colton, so, did she break up with you? And Colton paused for a second. He's like, yeah, she did. See, the fact that he had to think about it, this tells me how genuine is he? How genuine is he? It really goes back, it really stems back to even with the Tia incident. Was he really ever hoping that Tia would have been the next Bachelorette? Even though he claims not. He was open about that. But at the same time, I just don't know how genuine Colton is. And at the end of the day, I just think that Colton and Becca, their relationship is a very lustful relationship. And it's just something that is short-term, not long-term whatsoever. Even though I do think he'll be in the top 3. And I think at times, his real intentions are he's hoping that he is the next Bachelor. I think that's what he's trying to prepare himself for, even though he says that he is here for Becca. He's saying the right things, but I just don't think that long term, because he doesn't have enough relationship experience like Becca, and that's what Becca's looking for. She's looking for a husband. That keeps on getting brought up. She's here for a husband, okay? Someone long term. And the fact that Colton does not necessarily have that right now, it seems that he's a playboy type guy that wants to have fun and play the field. I think he will be better geared as being the Bachelor if he is up for that. He does not win this competition. Well, I don't say win the competition, but if he does not get the final rose. So that's just how I see it with Becca and Colton. Obviously, they got away after the date. They had the whole basically the whole sign, kiss her. They kissed. The other guy saw that. And I know as being one of the guys, I wouldn't be happy about that. It's obvious she's kissing. I would know that she's kissing other guys, but I don't need to see that. I did not need to see that there's fireworks going off between the two of them, even though I did think it was really funny. Speaking of fireworks, what happened with Jordan, how after he got sent home, there was fireworks, and everyone was thinking, oh, those fireworks, man. Maybe there's a farewell type of fireworks, but obviously it was not the type of fireworks you see in the movies. So it did not work out. And I think Colin and Becca, I think they'll get pretty far, but it's not going to be anything long term. You saw what happened with the rose ceremony. John got sent home. Chris was the guy who received the last rose. No secrets there. Obviously, Becca sees some type of connection with him. They lost momentum, but something is still there. He's still a dark horse, even though I don't think he will win. And their next date, the next place they'll be going to is Richmond, with the place of love, Richmond, Virginia. It's going to be interesting. I think things are going to escalate a little bit more. I have not looked at any of the spoilers. I know a lot of our nation, our Bachelor Nation, looks at the spoilers, but I do not look at the spoilers. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, but leave a comment. Just one comment. I just want to see one comment from you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I always enjoy doing this. Thank you for joining me. And remember, I am not here to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear.